lots of time. Good. So with the Mars, when we look at the Mars, her Mars is in Virgo in the 3rd house. That's restless. That's got to get around. I got to do things. It's daylight is greater, nighttime's increasing. I got to do things. It's the analytical, adaptable, self-critical side. I'm very fussy about what I do. I have to have the right way to do things. I got to do things the right way. So the Mars is fussy about what it's doing. The Venus, which is Virgo, is fussy about how things are. Both can be very sensual physically, but not so much emotionally. But the Mars, it's fixing things. I got to fix this. I got to improve things. I got to do things. It's always trying to do different things. And it's in the 3rd house of expression, of communicate, of expressing where you're coming from. So when she wants to express, she's motivated by something, or Virgo on the IC. She gets an idea that's motivating her, something she thinks has to be improved or fixed. She's going to feel this isn't tolerable. And her Mars is going to say, oh, there's these 3 ways. I can do it this way. I can do it this way. I'll prove this way. I can fix it this way. She's going to act on it to make things happen. She's going to need her wheels, but the car is going to have to be working properly. She can't drive a faulty car with anything wrong with it. It's going to have to be fixed right away. But there's a restlessness with this Mars as well. Okay, in the 3rd house of expressing it, the minute you're motivated to be acting on it, to go on it, the minute she doesn't want something, she's going to be acting on it. So that Mars, even though it's not in Aries or in Scorpio, it's analyzed, it's thinking. She's going to act on her thoughts. It's ruled by Mercury in the Virgo. So I got to act. I got to do this. Something's missing. I got to do this. It's projecting. But it's my subjective projection. I got to do this. I'm going to have to get this together. I have to get all the tools, all the things together so I can push this out. So this is how she gets herself together in the morning. Well, if you wake up with her in the morning, you can just get out of the way quickly because you don't want to interfere with this process. But this Mars in this 3rd house of expressing, she's going to be strong. And when she wants to express something, she's going to be active. She's going to be doing it. Not so that Mars tends to exaggerate and tends to be a little intolerant or argumentative. Don't tell me this is not right. Don't tell me to accept something that's not correct. Okay. Now, when you look at the aspects, that Mars is conjunct Pluto. That's an extreme aspect. But other than that, it's sextile to Neptune. It's trine to Saturn. There's all good aspects. The only difficult aspect is the Mars conjunct Pluto. So you have strength and power and fear. So it would be easier for her, like, how would you say? This is a strong factor. It makes her really strong. She could survive almost anything. She's not going to accept criticism. She's going to try and fix it. When she fixes it, she's going to absolutely fix it. She's going to have her energy absolutely into doing it. It's going to be really powerfully into doing it, much stronger than anyone else. So she could satisfy a guy really easily, but would very fussy. It would be very difficult for a guy to satisfy her because she's probably stronger than most of the guys she's ever going to meet. Guys are going to look more like flakes. She can do it like. So the Mars Pluto implies there's battles over power and strength that she'll win by. If you're going to fight her, she's going to strong. She'll put any more energy you fight against, the more she's going to fight around it, the more she's stronger she's going to be. In fact, in growing up, she may be afraid of being as strong as she is and might try and criticize and hold back. Nobody liked me if I'm that strong. I better not show that. I better not show that. So she could, this is the critical side. For the fiery side, she has the strength to back it up, but she might be analyzing in her own self that I'm not as good as I am. I'm not as good as I am. I better not do this. No one will like me if I do this. The Mars can have, I don't want to be that strong. But really, once she takes her strength and goes on it, the Pluto to Mars, just do it. She got incredibly good energy to get things done, to make things happen. She doesn't have tolerance for people getting in the way or opposing her or fighting her. Someone arguing with her is going to get a strong response. They're going to be noticed, and she's going to do everything to try and fix that, to change that. But when you're trying to get intimate and close, the Mars Pluto needs to be in control, doesn't like to let go of control. The chart's rising, is doing things not very good on setting and responding. And her Venus is fussy, but this isn't good enough, this isn't good enough. It's going to be hard to satisfy her and to do things for her. Okay, now I'm making up a character. When I do a chart, I make up this character. We're going through steps. We're building up these the characterization of somebody. It may not be exactly who they are. I may not be able to define this exactly, but I'm getting close to something. If it's not this, oh no, it's not that. This is how this works. She would know exactly what I'm talking about, and she'd be saying, oh, this is happening here. This is what this is. And I'd be able to, then you get the dynamics of the reactions and the interrelationships coming from that. But this is no pushover. This is not a wimpy person. Sensitive, vulnerable to criticism or to lack of appreciation, not always appreciate. She never thinks she's good enough. Neptune to the Sun, to Venus and Virgo, but she's driving to prove that she can be better, to do it better, to fix this. Incredible force here. If you're trying to hire someone, you want someone to take control and take care of things and not make something fall apart, this is going to be her. But if you're trying to get a winning team, she could get the winning team and drive it. But to get everyone talking to each other and communicating to each other, and she's not going to be on that side of it so much. She's the inspirer. She's the fire to go. Okay, so each of the outer planets has a hold on one of the planets in her chart. The Mercury, the Venus, and the Mars, one of the personal planets, and the Sun. Mercury, not the Venus. Mercury, Mars, and the Sun, not the Venus. Venus is on its own, not really afflicted in any way, except by its own nature of being self-critical and subject to discontent and having to fix it. Okay. It's harder to look at the Jupiter. The other planets, you see them in the sign and the house. You really see them in the houses more, but they pick up the attitude of the sign, but a whole generation will have it, like Jupiter's in Scorpio. Everyone for a whole year has the Jupiter in Scorpio. So it's a way of understanding. It's a passionate understanding. We've had this the last year, and there was so many sexual and spy things and fighting things, like the understanding of what hidden secrets coming out with the Jupiter Scorpio. With the Jupiter, really, the understanding of Jupiter is having to understand the trust of relationships, the trust of sharing, of passion and trust. That's the attitude of Scorpio. I understand those things. That's its special magic. It's in the fifth house of understanding the trust around relationships, around kids. Do I want kids? Do I want to have relationships? Do I trust someone to be there? If she found a trustworthy person, that would be really a lucky thing. It would work really well for her. But this understanding and trying to understand what's trustworthy, she has a tendency to be working, like her Jupiter is not affected by anything. There's no square aspects. It's squared by Uranus and it squares Jupiter. So Uranus excites it. So Uranus squared Jupiter have unconventional understanding. This doesn't work. This is an unconventional outlook on life. The philosophy is a little bit more radical than conventional. See, astrology would explain things that's different than the normal strategy. So even though we have the bucket with the moon as the handle, the sun, the main part of that bucket, the whole two sides are still on the rising side, and we're seeing that really strength on the rising side and the not so much strength on the setting side. But the Jupiter understanding, kids, lovers, performance, creativity. Like Jupiter's a puzzle around having kids, around being creative, around teaching. She could be a great teacher, but she wouldn't be able to teach a boring subject. She has to show people how to do things. How people have to lead by following her. She'd be a great guide master or lead anything. But if it was going to be a band, it would have to be her band, to make it happen. Okay. That would be advisable to be. So, but the Jupiter, it's squared by Uranus, one aspect that excites it and makes it unstable, makes it a little more restless, with a tendency not to assimilate, to act too quickly on one's understanding, or to act without understanding exactly clearly. If you go too fast, it makes it restless. So the Jupiter is trying to assimilate what's trustworthy, what's not, in relationships, in performance. But the Mercury and the Jupiter together here are, which Jupiter squares that are tied into this, is always trying to solve it quickly. Here's what to do, here's what to do, here's what to do. It's always moving quickly, not necessarily always resolving the understanding. And when you don't resolve the understanding, misunderstandings can happen, and discontent can grow, and you can start getting less feedback. But you're thinking you're doing everything this way. You can draw the conclusion too quickly. It's not. This is an aspect. It can be dealt with. The Jupiter is supposed to be about trusting, understanding trust, and understanding performance and creativity and sharing. She would understand what's needed in a relationship so much, she would make sure her guy is super taken care of. But she doesn't need him to be so. She just needs him to be affirmative or applauding, not smothering. So get some puzzles about the understanding. You don't see the other planets quite so clearly. You see it, it's in the house of that fifth house of how you respond to others. So the seventh house is your reacting part, how you respond to others. You take things personally, and then it goes in. So she gets serious about something, then she tries to understand it. Then she starts blaming herself, Neptune, and then it comes down to a friction. Well, I wasn't good enough. What was wrong with me? I got to fix this. I got to do better. It's part of the dynamic of her psychology, of how she takes things in. So she's blamed if we're going over to Jupiter. Okay, so we get it past this, but there's a tendency for the Mercury Uranus to make quick decisions about what's understanding and to act faster, to act on ideas. There's a difference between knowledge, between Mercury and Jupiter, between knowledge and knowing things and understanding things and assimilating the results of your experience. And again, getting experience, Mars in the third house, Venus in the third house, trying to be very self-critical. And then thinking about one's self-critical, any little understanding can be overreactive and be analyzed and then acted on without really dealing with it. So some situations that may be good. Some places it may be a blind spot. When we look at the Saturn's in Capricorn, a sign it rules, dignified. In the sixth house, hard work. Saturn in the sixth house implies conservative work, practical work, cautious, having practical skills. It's restricted. It's not going to have a lot of skills. It's going to have practical skills. The practical Capricorn. So she'll be able to get a job that does something, and she'll be best at it. But it's not going to be, even though her mind's very radical, even though she's pushing to do anything, there's this cautious side of the Saturn. It's trying the Mars and the Pluto, not a big problem. It's sextiles to the Neptune, no big problems. It puts pressure on her lifestyle, on her need to impulse. So it's taking a conservative job and maintaining a conservative career. One's going to react responsibly and take seriously any feedback you get from someone you're going to react strongly on, then she's going to want to fix it, but she's going to react seriously. She takes things in from seriously, maybe too seriously. Then maybe she has to solve it without letting people solve things for herself, but she's still going to respond seriously and not necessarily show that she's responding. She's going to be listening to how she's affected, but she's not necessarily absorbing. Interesting.